Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of All Goes Back to Sonic. I am MegaFire, and with me are Harvek, Dorko for you, and Bob. This time around, we went through the issues 11 through 18, the Sonic In Your Face special, and issues 19 and 20. So, how do you guys feel? Like, what are your first thoughts, impressions of these next few issues? I know last time I mentioned this is where things sort of start to inch a little more towards cohesive stories. How'd you guys feel about it?
That feels about right, because for the most part, I feel the same way about this as I did like the last session, where it's just like a bunch of Looney Tunes, like slapstick stuff. But it's like starting to inch toward like the adventure-y kind of stuff, especially in the special. So I thought the special was like fun. Everything else was like also fun, but like not as much.
yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty.
It's a start.
Yeah, 11. I should say like 11 through 20 is just to give everybody an overview. It's like we start to get introduced to more characters. We get a couple new writers, and we get a little more like plot based stories where we actually have like a part 1 and part 2. Most of them take place in the same issue, so I don't quite know why they split it up like a cartoon, I guess is the best way to put it. Is we have like a part 1 of a story, and then like the next page is part 2, but they kind of put like a little pause there like you would in a cartoon before a comic or like a commercial break. We introduce some new characters. There's a bald eagle dude. We get some more of the animals in this world. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't make sense. We get our introduction to Knuckles the Echidna from Sonic 3. And Snively, whom we were introduced to in our last batch of comics, gets a little more of a prominent role as Dr. Robotnik's bullied underling. Him and Krabby kind of alternate that position.
I like Krabby
Dr.
better.
Ivo Robotnik, I might add.
Dr. Ivo Robotnik, that's right. That's important, remember that, because his name will just keep on getting more complicated from here, baby. Anybody else have like some little preface feelings on what we read? Anything like you guys like have like just off the top of your head, like just feelings overall?
Well, I thought the fill the blanks thing was fun.
Right, we gotta fill the blanks.
We'll get to that, but other than that, yeah, I said my piece.
Okay, I don't know when the comic's gonna fully transition, but with some of the stories here, I could kind of feel like the more serious stuff where I was like, oh, this is what I remembered this comic for. I can see bits and pieces of it already.
And to give context to that, you mean this is what you remember the comic like when you started reading like a issue like 180 or something you started reading in?
I mean the first issue I read was probably 180 or something. I can't remember the exact number.
It was a specific Ian Flynn's run, right? You know, like when he started up on the team. So Dorko missed all the juice, all the delicious morsels that we'll get to. All right, well, to kick it off.
Actually,
oh yeah.
It's not exactly important or anything, but like, I said like the first part where like the first issue I saw was like Ian Flynn, and I remember like back then I was like, oh, I enjoy these comics, and like in the back it would have the thing of like check the boxes, send it in, and get comics mailed to you or something. So I remember at some point I had a bunch of random Knuckles comics, and I was just really confused, and I was also laughing at the dialogue. I remember that.
Now you're gonna get some context. Well, soon you're gonna get some context, for better or worse.
So, like, yeah, in a sense, like, it was also like, oh, like, this is reminding me of those issues I read a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's about right. We're starting to get okay. Well, let's just say Sonic 11, issue 11. We get our new writers, Ken Penders with Mike Kantarovich. I'm not going to talk about Ken Penders' background right now. We are going to get to more Ken Penders stuff when he becomes more of a solo writer. I will introduce Mike Kantarovich here. He's actually a writer for Marvel. He's worked on Spider-Man and Hulk comics, but his real sort of piece of media that he's most familiar with, or that he's worked the most with, is Earth 616. I'm not a Marvel fan. I don't know what that means exactly, but I know Fantastic Force is the hero group that he does a lot of comics in. I think he's credited as one of the creators of that. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with anything Marvel related.
Not really. I fell
Not
off
to
the
this
Marvel
extent.
train.
No.
Fell off the Marvel train a long time ago.
Fantastic Force?
Fantastic Force, Earth 616 is
Well,
the...
616 is the main universe.
Okay.
That's just the main Marvel stuff now.
Oh, well then that's what he worked with the Fantastic Force in the main Marvel lineup, I guess.
Do you mean the Fantastic Four?
No, it's not the Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Force. Let me hold on. I'll search it because I swear I was like, this is Fantastic Four. He's not the creator of the Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Force. Creators Tom Brevoort, Mike Kantarovich, and Dante Bastioni. Bastioni. They had 18 comics. So they ran from 1994 to 1996. When I was born, I ended the Fantastic Force. Literally the month before I was born, they ended the run. So I think it was my fault, my bad. If you were a Fantastic Force fan, it was my fault, I'm sorry.
How dare you? I'm kidding.
Anyway,
don't know anything about that.
Kantarovich, he actually specifically wrote only with Ken Penders. Primarily, I think. Everything that we're going to talk about today, all the stories that Ken wrote, Mike also wrote. They were co-author writers on everything that comes up here today. Number 11 starts with, we get a little more taste of Robotnik's pollution strategy. He unleashes the pancake batter of pollution on Mobius. Sonic kills Grounder. It's really messed up. He just has him absolutely torn apart in one scene, and then we are introduced to the cosmic interstate. We already knew about weird zones and stuff, but this is specifically the cosmic interstate in the secret zone, which is supposed to be shortcuts to the multiverse. And of course, leave it to the Marvel writers to get us an instant introduction to alternate dimensions. What, do they just want to cop out for when things get boring for them to write in the main line?
If I may just say, the road names in the Cosmic Interstate have some very interesting names.
Got any specific?
Abbey Lane, Penny Lane, Lois Lane. You know.
Are the 1990s just a Wild West land where nobody cares about legality?
I think
Archie.
If I remember right, I thought the Lois Lane it was partially cut off, but so it was a gag. Yeah. If you know, you know.
It's
True.
Lois La.
True, but we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles earlier.
Yeah, I still don't understand that fully, but
Archie might have had something to do with the Ninja Turtles at the time. I think.
I mean, that was my first assumption. They had the fucking rise to the turtles or whatever. Not that I would know.
Oh, I think you maybe you're right. Well, regardless of their legal, I guess no copyright in the universe can stop Sonic the Hedgehog, but Evil Sonic is introduced. So Sonic travels through the Dimensional Highway and he ends up in the exact opposite of his universe. He ends up in a place where Dr. Robotnik is a veterinarian with talking animals that aren't anthropomorphic. They're just regular animals. And Evil Sonic and the evil freedom fighters are there to be evil because it's cool? Question mark? Anyway, Evil Sonic is apparently a brain genius when it comes to alternate dimension stuff, because they have a little fight, and he's like, wait a minute, I've totally pieced this out, and then he gives us a whole chart about it. and we see somebody's feet. We see Evil Sonic's feet. That's foot count number 2. That's pretty much that. I don't know. It was cool because we get... This is the first taste that we get of, like, alternate universe stuff. And not just in this comic series, just, like, there's going to be another instance of it pretty soon here in this batch. Remember it, because it is actually kind of important.
We do get a story with coconuts after this, though, so...
Oh, yeah. So back to that Looney Tunes kind of deal, like that Monster of the Week thing. We get Coconuts as the main villain, and he's just gonna classic blow up, tie everybody up to a post and put a bunch of bombs next to him. Anton shits himself, and then there's like a little maze for Sonic to run through for the kids so that he can save his friends.
I got through without hitting anybody.
Hey, I'm proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys play it? I did.
I kept getting stuck at Robotnik. I'm sorry.
I like how Robotnik's top 10 has Batbrain as number 1.
Uh-huh.
Of all the things you're gonna have, it's Batbrain.
They like referencing other comics. Then they have a food fetish story.
Yes, there's
afterwards.
a food fetish story at the end of this issue. There's like a Tails French fry abomination.
It's a nightmare. Oh, Bob Dorko posted.
Yeah, that
one. What's the Frylock? Except it's Tails. Tails is Frylock.
A very
Kentucky
cursed story.
God, yeah. Robotnik's like basically Sonic eats himself into a food coma and then dreams of like Robotnik, who's also a hamburger, trying to prepare everybody into a meal. Sonic needs to stop having dreams. Every time he eats and goes to bed, he has a freaky dream. In the last batch of comics, he did the same thing.
Hot Dog Sonic is also beaten by coconuts, I might say.
So, hot dog, coconuts beat hot dog, burger beat fries. That's the power dynamic we've got going.
If they ever have fruit-themed Robot Masters in the next Mega Man game, remember that.
Sonic 12. We got Mike Gallagher's back with art by Mawini. I don't know. They just write their name as Mahini.
No, their first name's Art.
Art Mawini. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I actually ran into that because like when I first read the credit, I was like reading it like, oh, pencils Art Mawini. I was like, that's weird. They only have one name. When I looked up the artist, I was like, oh.
I totally thought it was artist.
It's a title, Mawini.
Oh, that's the title is Lord Mawini. Mawini is the title of the art.
I feel like there's something cool about being an artist named Art. I don't know.
Gets to live up to his name.
Mm-hmm. Confuse everybody in the credits.
So I feel that this artist has drawn Robotnik the fattest he's been in the whole comic.
Well, it makes sense because we get introduced to RBV, Robotnik Belly Vision, because that's their version of TV. Like, what do they mean by this? Like, does he just have is he a Teletubby? Like, why Belly Vision? Like, I get it. Oh, another fat joke, but like...
Also, the feet numbers are going astronomical in this issue. It's kind of concerning.
I only count Sonic's feet, but really I should probably start a different counter for all of them.
Well, stop the counter now because we're not topping this one.
No, Harv, you told us in the last episode, you mentioned that they've kept Knothole's entrance the same, like every time they do the X-ray. Is it the same this time?
It's similar, but not the exact same.
That's what I thought. It was like it's all curvy and stuff. Anyway, nothing really happens. Sonic. Well, okay. I guess Sonic goes to the past. It sounds way more interesting as a summary than it does in reality because
it was just the caveman episode at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. He makes sure that he doesn't end up a cave dweller in the end.
Also, he met an eagle.
Yeah, we get the next story. So that first story
Before you go on, this is also another occurrence of Hey, would you like to see more of your Caveman Sonic cast? Write us and tell us.
I missed that, but yeah, the writers like to, so they did take, I think they still do, they take like fan letters and stuff, and later on we'll see them, they actually start to put in like fan comments at the very end of the comics. I don't think we had any in this batch. We had like a proto version of what they're gonna start doing, but we didn't have anything this batch. The next story is so this is Ken, once again Ken and Mike are writing, and this is about it's called Bold-Headed Eagle. And I will say, we had this conversation last time where I said that Mike Gallagher is not very good at introducing original characters. I don't know who of the pair thinks them up, but I think Ken and Mike do a pretty good job with new characters. At least in the design and the like lines aspect. Like, this story is about a bald eagle who looks older, and he's upset because he thinks his whole family's been captured by Robotnik, and he's all alone. He's the last bald eagle, and he's afraid to fly because the reason why he thinks everybody got caught is because they were flying and made easy targets. And you know, that's where the good part ends, and then it's just like, oh, they were just below us this whole time. He literally like falls because he can't fly very well, and he finds the rest of his family or his friends just on the same mountain, just like one floor down. I mean, it's a sweet story. Gamers can't look up. Normies don't look down.
True words have never been spoken.
Yeah, I would say the characters they introduce are definitely a step up from Gallagher's.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of new characters, in the next story, Lynx is a Jinx. Angelo Desar, he's the writer for this one. It's a story about a Lynx who's down on his luck. He's really mopey. When the gang approach him, everybody like gets a broken limb. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. He's literally Garfield for real. But he's also like Jinx from Teen Titans for real. And he literally stops Eggman by just,
Robotnik.
He stops Robotnik by just walking in front of him and all the problems, because he's got such bad luck that everything is deleted in front of him. They forget about him. I don't remember if he comes back. But they bring him back to the Freedom Fighters base, and then nothing else happens. Like, that's it.
That's it. Sonic
13. This is where things get a little interesting. We got it's another Mike and Ken story with art by Dave Manick. It has a really cool cover. I'm actually gonna post it here, and everything we post and talk about, this will be we'll link it in the descriptions. I don't know. It's like the classic Sonic, like from the box arts of the games that you see. He's on a racetrack, and I just really like the way they did this cover. It's the Sonic 3 adaptation. Whatever.
Sonic in general in this issue looks a lot more like just classic Sonic and less Sad AM, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I think going forward, he kind of like gets his own little. He gets his own identity. I feel like.
Because I believe this is like the first issue where Sonic like faces the camera, and you see all the quills like behind him, and not just like a mohawk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. It's the second game adaptation, I might add, since Sonic Spinball took that first place. Sonic 3. Sonic and Tails discover the floating island. It's not Angel Island. Very specifically, we will call it the floating island until noted otherwise. Knuckles is here. He's got... So, I have an interesting name. I don't know how many of you guys watch Sonic Underground. I've only watched some of it, but the personality that he has in this whole issue feels like Sonic Underground to me. Thoughts?
I have no thoughts. I've never seen Sonic Underground.
I don't really remember the writing of the Sonic Underground episode. But I remember the artwork, the animation.
Yeah, I remember the really off-model Knuckles in a certain video of them. It wasn't a fight scene or whatever, but it looked really funny.
I mean, he's off-model this whole issue.
True,
they don't know what to do with him.
No,
they don't know
like
how to
in
draw
the show they fuck the perspective like constantly. He turns into a tiny Knuckles like every 5 frames.
That's very true.
But yeah.
Oh, we get greeted to... Well, what I mean by... Okay, for people who haven't Sonic Underground, I feel like Knuckles has a lot of, like, cheesy lines. You know, it's very 90s, but he's not, like, mean or, like, he's not, like, that Sonic Adventure, like, pensive and thoughtful. He's just a guy. He's just a dude. He's got, like, cheesy lines. He's just an angry little man. He's just a little angry guy.
It's just a little 90 cool dude scrunkly.
He's like, a couple of unwanted guests. Time to roll out the unwelcome mat. He shakes his fist at the screen. And then he literally, next frame, Sonic and Tails in their airplane get hit with a rocket with a fist holding the unwelcome mat. And I think that is so funny. I don't know. I died. That is, it is really funny to me. It's stupid and I like it. Also, of course, Ken Penders is writing the story, and as we will soon find out, Ken Penders will adopt Knuckles as his surrogate son.
Yeah, there is something very funny and poetic about Ken Penders writing the issue Knuckles debuts in.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the return of the Chaos Emeralds, or Chaos Emerald, I guess.
Yes, you're right. So we get... To lead up into that, we get the fire robot from the game. When you get to the end of Angel Island Zone, you see that fire robot that just turns everything into hell, and it does that in this. This is actually really cool. It gives us a lot of the game in like really quick like frames. Like it'll be basically one panel for things in the game. We get the robot who burns down Angel Island Zone. We get the little reflect ability that Sonic gets when he gets the blue shield. Which I never ever used, and I didn't even know it could reflect things. It follows like the game's levels because you start in Angel Island, they go to Hydrocity Zone, and then they meet Knuckles in the like Chaos Chamber or whatever it's called, the Ancient Chamber, and they get like knocked out. But it's cool because the Chaos Emerald that they show is like the same design, like it's got that hexagon look. And Knuckles travels around with a shortcut system, which I think is cute.
Also, apparently Gotham City is on this floating island.
Wait, what? I think I missed something.
When they're running out of the cave after Knuckles lets them go, there's a sign pointing to Gotham City 14 miles away.
I'm telling you, what are they thinking? This is the Wild West, man. They just do whatever the hell they want. Now Gotham City is canon.
Does that mean that Robotnik has conquered the world, but Gotham City's totally fine?
If it's on the floating island, I guess so.
Alright. So Batman's running around somewhere in this universe, I guess.
Well, we saw Bat Robot earlier, and also Sonic likes to dress up as Batman sometimes, I guess. Or he likes to read the Batman comics. Yeah, that's so that they beat up Robotnik, kick him, in Knuckles' classic fashion, he gets tricked by Robotnik, but very quickly finds out that he's been tricked, and they kick his butt, and then leave the island, and Knuckles is like, I hope I never see you again, buddy, and then Sonic's like, ditto, and then they will see each other again. We get Space in Yo Face! This is one of those two-parter things in one issue that we got, where Sonic and friends steal Robotnik's spaceship and go on a nice ride. I guess freedom fighting can wait, and instead of Robotnik capitalizing on the fact that his arch enemies are gone off planet, he chases after them, and they basically win the day by building a mud statue of Robotnik on an alien planet, and the narcissistic asshole just dies in mud.
What a fool.
What an absolute buffoon. Also, Rotor likes to eat dirt. This is another one of those Looney... Like, we get... This is the Looney Tunes stuff still here. It just becomes... But for some reason, this is like a two-parter. I don't know why. It's kind of nothing.
And apparently one of the characters mentions that, oh yeah, there are 100 moons.
So,
I wonder if that detail's gonna stick.
Yeah, tidally locked Mobius.
Mobius just disintegrates immediately if this was real.
It just gets torn apart by the gravitational force of 100 moons.
Considering these moons also apparently have atmosphere, too. Yeah, probably.
Some of them have rings around them, so they have like little asteroids floating around. That means if the... Sheesh. Which one is the colony arc?
If Sonic runs into a planet ring, does he collect it?
Oh.
Oh no.
He'll destroy Saturn.
Does it just make a big boodoo?
Yeah, it just no, there's no sound in space.
Not true actually. There is. It's just there's nothing to conduct sound through.
Okay.
Anyways,
same thing. That you wouldn't hear it. The badoom. I guess if a tree falls and nobody's there, does it really? Do you hear it fall?
Does it really fall?
Whatever. Does it really fall? Yeah, if a tree falls when you're not there, does it really fall? I don't think so. Checkmate, atheists.
Hold on. Let's keep our talks about God till the Knuckles stuff.
You're right. Yeah, we're not there yet. We'll get to that. Yeah,
we'll have to. God.
Nobody has any. If you're tuning in for the first time and you never read these comics, you're in for a fucking trip. You're in for a ride. All right, Sonic 14, Manic and Agostinho. I'm gonna get your name right one day. They did the cover art for this, and Angelo Desser wrote this story. It's actually kind of fun. Another one of those Monster of the Week things. Sonic is in love with a plant. They make out. Tails eats the plant's fruit. And becomes a brain genius. Literally, he becomes big brain. Like, I mean, this is kind of, we know him as the intelligent, like, high IQ individual in the games and stuff, but he's not really that in the comics. He's just kind of a kid. He's just Sonic's sidekick. He's really childish. Not childish derogatory, maybe sometimes, but, you know, he's just a kid. So he beats up robots with his big brain and then invents a Roomba. That's it. Oh yeah, there's one panel that I really like where he's just talking and the speech bubble like squishes Sonic's head. Shut up, Tails, you're crowding us out of the panel.
I have an image of that. I'll post in here real quick.
You thought you did something there, didn't you? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but numerous sentences could be constructed without employing the first letter of the English lexicon. Yeah, the story is okay. He goes off to fight Robotnik because he thinks he can fight him with facts and logic, trademark, and he loses his brain power immediately. And there is one of my favorite panels of Robotnik just looking at this, like, Tails is like trying to give him some sort of spiel about how he's just give up his empire and give up, and he's just like, what? Sonic goes to save him, threatens to blow everybody IRA style, and it's a bluff. He's like, I'm gonna throw this bomb, and I put the panel of him counting down, and Robotnik gets really anxious, gives up.
That's the dumbest bluff.
This is another Looney Tunes episode.
I mean, at first I was wondering, like, wait, is this like an excuse to make Tails smarter? But I was like, oh, no. By the end of it, it's like it just resets.
I didn't have any idea that he was going to be smart. I mean, we know that he, like... I mean, I guess they kind of... In the games, he makes a plane and stuff, because that's what they use in Sonic 3, but, like, we don't really have a ton for him. He's a kid who looks up to Sonic, so he's got more of a childish personality.
Right.
Rotor is sort of the genius inventor.
Right, of course. Which does...
It is interesting foresight, though. Now, this is the part.
Well,
so... Go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing one thing I wrote down was just the fact that I think Tails calls Sonic, like, the leader. Like, oh, he's the leader. I was like, what?
Yeah, he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
They kind of correct that in a couple issues.
Yeah, Sonic's, just to clarify in case... Sonic's not the leader. It's Sally. She's the princess. She's supposed to be the leader. They don't do a good job with her in the beginning. I mean, it's easy to forget that she's the leader.
I feel like this is probably, like... I feel like it must have been confusing just reading the comics and having no other context back then.
True enough. I feel like I'm maybe the earliest reader of this group, and I started reading like way after Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are out, maybe even after Heroes. So this next little segment here is there's a story in here that's called Do It Yourself. Literally, they put a bunch of panels with blanks in them, and a couple of us here, Bob and Dorko, have done some of their own custom stories. So, Bob, you want to start? Post yours. Let's take a look.
I'll start us off. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to post the whole thing at once, but Discord might want me to segment it. Let's see. All right, does that like squish down?
Yeah,
no, it works.
We'll,
all right.
Yeah, of course we'll also.
Okay, and for the readers at home, the fish's speech bubble. You're supposed to like replace it with your choice of a sound effect. So just keep that in mind when those parts come up. we all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog and okay, just a disclaimer, I'm not funny. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I just got one word. Knights of the Princess Sally had invited us over to go fishing, eh, Tails? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's supposed to be like really deadpan, nonchalant.
Yeah.
That's what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I just stole 4,822 babies. Masterful work, sire. Look, sire. It's Sonic and Tails. What should we do? I gotta eat them. Give me a sec.
Okay, take your time.
I didn't even realize that he's just eating crab meat in that. Oh, that's.
Right, next panel. I got him. Yeah, well, get this, grabs Dick. You are 30 years old. Please act your age. But I will never let go. Fish. Whoa, a big fish stick. You big old bass. You fish lip, fish head. Fuck you. Yeah. Fart with reverb noise.
All right, Dorko, you gonna put in the sound effects during the editing?
No.
It's funnier this way. You have fat-shamed me for the last time, Sonic. Behold my most powerful fish. Or, as I like to call it... Talk about low budget. I'm out of here. Slide whistle noise. Run. Oh yeah, Sally was supposed to show up. I forgot. I don't know what I'm doing. Every Crush 40 song at once. The Navy SEALs copy pasta read by Long John Baldry. I just got one word to say to you, Robotnik. Okay, let's hear it.
I feel like I just read a comic in like a YouTube poop comic.
I was thinking the same thing. This is just a YouTube poop.
That was so good.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for jokes. I have to just throw in referential humor.
No, it's okay. I mean, YouTube
And,
poop is
and
the
prop
highest form of
comedy.
comedy. I mean, it's a comic for a reason.
I want to hear someone AI generate the Navy SEALs copy pasta by Long John Baldry now.
Yeah, that's on the to-do list. All right, Dorko, your turn.
Shit. Oh man, I can't follow that up.
Oh man, don't say that. I'm sure it's good. Let's see.
And I'm also just taking a second to actually find it so I can. I should have been doing this. I was really
Yeah.
entranced, like following along.
Yeah, Bob's comic is just so good. While Dorko finds his comic, I'll just quickly say that the next story coming up is about how the main characters are Bunny and Sally, and they're trying to do like a social commentary. So yeah, look forward to that. Dorko just posted his his comic.
I should probably really quickly preface this by I just want to say that my favorite Sonic character is Big the Cat. I love him.
I am ready for this.
Sonic the Hedgehog in My Title Here, Your Title Here.
I guess I should read it.
Yeah.
It's written by Dorko for you.
I'm glad we decided to go out on a fishing trip. It's a nice day with good sunny weather. It's too bad that our good friend Big the Cat wasn't able to join us. He would have loved this. Go over. Drat, Big the Cat is nowhere in sight. Yeah, I'm definitely the type of person that just laughs too hard at their own jokes.
What's the deep lore of Robotnik hating Big the Cat?
Oh, he's his biggest fan.
We haven't even gotten to Big the Cat in the comic. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Maybe he caught wind of our scheme. I'll try and see if I I laughed too hard at my own jokes. I'll try and see if I can pinpoint Big's location. Forget it. We can still get rid of Sonic.
As an afterthought.
Sweet, looks like I got a real sucker using my literal sucker. Tails, please stop with the puns. And now you've sicked one with a popsicle. Tails, please! I don't think this big fellow cares much for your wordplay either. Great Moby Dick!
Sound effect.
I left in all the... I left in everything that was like sound effect. I like the look of it. Apologies for overturning your fishing trip. Let me introduce you to my Oshi Gargura. Sorry, I'm more of a Corone fan myself.
Your sound effect here.
I don't get it. Who's Corone? Don't sweat it. Our writer's a dork. I can't tell if this is water or clouds.
Sound effect. Sound effect.
You might have had a chance if your co-pilot had fingers. I can't wait to show this to Big. He would have solved this with one punch.
I can't wait to show this to Big in like 40 issues or 50 issues, maybe more. I can't remember.
I just really like making everyone like. I like making Sonic and Tails like love Big, and he's like their best friend. And then on the other side, like Robotnik is like terrified of like Big. He's like their strongest fighter.
In order for their rebellion to fall, we must rid ourselves of Big the Cat, the elusive Big the Cat. Oh boy.
Big should have been the star of Sat AM, not gonna lie.
So, to go on off of that, you know what? IDW hire Dorko and Bob. They should write your comics.
Yeah.
We get a story about Bunny and Sally. This is supposed to be like I don't want to be mean, but you know this is the 90s, so keep that in mind. This is something they are trying to do to be like, you know, girls can do a 2 type of story where they are going on an adventure and Robotnik specifically targets them. They overcome it. It does show, you know, like Bunny can kick butt, like seriously, and that's cool. And you know, Sally gets some character because she shows herself to be like witty enough to like she has enough wit to get out of situations and like grace and tact.
I think she actually like took out a swap bot too, right? Like
yeah, she's like they're able to do things without like the hero Sonic. It's too bad this doesn't go very far after this for a while. This was also, I think, a story that Angelo wrote. I might be wrong. But it's nice. I mean, you know, it's very 90s, but it is like it's very on the nose, and it's a social commentary on like hyper masculinity and like comic books and stuff. So it's like, I get it. You know, they wanted to do something to try and, you know, get their stance question mark out there. Whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's like so way past like in the past that I can't. The next one, Sonic 15. Manic and Dag did the cover of this one, and Angelo was the writer for this with Dave Manic and art. And let me say, I love Dave Manic's art. I just think it's neat. Oh, before I forget, actually, number 14 had, I'm posting it in the the chat, and we'll post it for you. But there was like the proto off panel. I guess the writers and the editors will start to do like these little things where they like write little comments at the end of the comics talking about the process and whatnot. And this one just they did something like that for this one, which just is we goofed again. In issue 11, we accidentally left off the credits to one of the stories. I apologized in issue 13 and thought my problems were solved, but oh no way. Here comes Ken Penders and Mike Kenderovich calling my office and laughing. Thanks for crediting us for the bold-headed eagle in issue 12, but we didn't write it. Wait a Sonic second, I said. I asked you if you wrote that story, and you said yes! Besides, you guys never sign your scripts. The guys became quiet real fast. I sure told them. The question is, what do I tell the real writer, Angelo DeSeris? Oh, Paul, I need your help. Until next time. And there's a signature in there.
Here comes Ken Penders.
Here comes Ken Penders.
I did think this was amusing when I was trying to keep track of who wrote what and whatnot, and I was seeing these editor notes pop up, and I was like, man, they're keep messing up and giving credit to the wrong people.
And by extension, I also messed up because I forgot to addend my notes with this, so now you know. Anyway, issue 50. Manic Dag, Angelo doing the writing, Manic doing the art. I Love to Pollute is a very good frame of Robotnik standing there with a badge. It's that. I mean, that's like the highlight of this one. Again, not super engaging. Sonic gets 3 power pellets that give him like superpowers, like rubber bandness or whatever. He just circumvents death and beats Robotnik, and everyone else is there too, and they're hostages. Sigh. I don't know. It's unfortunate. I wish the cast would be doing things more, but it just doesn't happen.
Oh no, this is starting to mirror your feelings on current Sonic games.
I know! It's true. I hate it when they just have characters there to just do nothing. What's the big idea? The next story in this issue by Kanovich and Penders. I don't know if this is anything. It's just another Looney Tunes thing. Rotor's inventing things. He's in his experimentation era. Bunny gets boobs. And the gang tries to figure out what he's inventing. And in the end, he just makes a thermos. The thing that holds things hot and cold things cold. That's it. Oh, the final story is kind of funny. Angelo wrote this one, and it's basically Robotnik and Snively are like, holy crap, this bunny rabbit, we made a monster. And they're like, I know how to solve this. They make a big magnet, and they try to pull her in. But then they're like, wait a minute. Didn't everything we ever make is metal too? So all their stuff just flies and destroys their robot, and Bunny's okay. I don't know, it was fun. It was a fun one. Sonic 16. I'm going to kind of speed through this because I feel like I'm being going through this with a fine cone. They have really funny little art in the covers where they put people in the... there are segments where it tells you who published the comics, and there's like a little, the price, the issue number, and then there's like a little art piece there, and this one is just Sally trapped in the box. She's like, help! I'm trapped in a corner box and I can't get out! I don't know, I think those are fun.
Since you bring that up, that character in there is also kind of significant. Princess Sally has a new design again.
Yes. This is the fun thing. This story is about the gang is gaslit into thinking that they've won, and they firebombed Robotnik City, I guess. But in reality, they were just abducted by Robotnik and put into glass tubes and basically put in the Matrix. And they pretend to live. Sonic and Sally get married, I guess. Anton is fuming. And Sally on the cover has her, now she is in her canonical brown design, and she has her blue vest on the cover. But not in the comic, or any of the comics following.
I thought that was pretty funny, too. And, I look at the cover, I'm like, oh, she has the vest. And I, actually, start reading the story, and, the vest is gone again.
It's okay. Remember this. It's going to be a plot important reason she gets the vest. So Sonic and Steadily get married, and then they realize that the whole gang is here of the badniks: Coconut, Scratch, Grounder, Crab Meat. Oh, Grounder's back to life, I guess.
Grounder it's obviously a different Grounder. He's got different colors on.
Oh, you're right. They keep changing his colors. So the gang figures out things aren't right, and the scene melts, and we get Sonic meeting Uncle Chuck and Mutsky, and they tell him, yeah, you're actually in VR. And, Sonic, you're in VR chat. And so Sonic's like, oh no, that's the most cursed place on the planet. So he's like, I don't like it here. I'm going to start hacking the server. So he hacks the server and he loads a model so messed up that it crashes Robotnik's computer.
And Cal and Al are back.
Yeah, one frame. I don't know what that's supposed to imply.
It's so pointless.
But they're the best characters, don't you know?
It's so popular. Weird. It's so weird because Penders and Mike didn't even use, like, that's not their character. I don't know. It's like, I feel like, why? I guess, whatever.
If I can make a comparison,
maybe they were like, let's make VR another zone.
If I can make a comparison, and this is stretching it thin, have you heard the tale of the Brazilian Mega Man comic Takeover?
No. Is that the original Mega Man comic, like from in the 90s?
It was the only one in the 90s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was only in Brazil, obviously. But one of the writers did not want to write for Mega Man, so they started making their own original character named Princess. And in one issue, Princess kills all the main characters and tries to take over the comic. And this was the writer attempting to, like, make it his own comic.
Huh.
And I had vague vibes of that with all the, hey, if you want to see these original characters, write to the Archie.
Write to Mike Gallagher, who invented that. He's not even writing this story. Why did they put him in there? Did Mike Gallagher just sneak into the office and was like, let me just draw these guys right there? Okay. And then Mike Gallagher, I love you. I love your work. I don't know. I feel like this Looney Tunes slapstick it has a place in my heart, but like, buddy, why? Like, what? Maybe it's not even your fault, but like, why Cal and Al so much? It's not the last that we're gonna see of those fuckers either.
I am so excited.
So
Cal and Al are my favorite characters now.
God, Cal and Al pilled. We see Uncle Chuck at the very end. He crashes the computers. The gang is saved. They all escape, and we get a sad scene of Uncle Chuck and Mutsky, who are roboticized and under Robotnik's control, being ordered to mop up the mess that Sonic and the gang did. And Sonic still has no idea. He just thought he was hallucinating. So maybe this was an attempt for Uncle Chuck to help him out. Maybe that was the real Uncle Chuck in VR. Who knows? Man from Hedgehog, another Kennervich and Penders thing. This is actually, I like this one a lot. This is funny. They just basically did it like a kind of like a beat by beat, like not beat by beat, but like it was just like an Ocean's 11 heist payday-esque thing where Robotnik sends his badniks to do like various heists. Coconut goes underwater instead of crab meat for some reason to use the payday drill to do an undersea bank heist. Scratch and Grounder are the getaway drivers for the Mobius Museum of Art robbery.
And Grounder's in his original colors again.
And Grounder's changed colors again. And then Sonic and crew just basically end up there and just stop each heist. One thing I want to say is Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore are just there in this story. Winnie the Pooh helps stop coconuts with the gang underwater, and then Eeyore is at the museum as a bouncer or something.
I don't remember this.
Oh my god, there is Winnie the Pooh. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't have the clips. You guys are gonna have to just go to the but just like look when they're all facing coconuts. Like Winnie the Pooh's on the right, and then Eeyore's on the right of the museum. And one of my favorite lines that I will definitely be using in the future is suddenly Sonic appears. And he flips Scratch and Grounder's car and takes the painting they stole. Yeah, there's just they go to Sally and Sonic go to a casino, and there's a lot of like spy trope films. It's a really all over the place comic, and it was really just made for that.
I got my little enjoyment of just the little Twin Peaks reference. I was like, that's something I understand.
Oh yeah, I missed that. There's a ton of references thrown in.
The owls are not what they seem, which it's also it's a pun since the spy turned out to be an owl.
Mm-hmm. Sonic 17, I don't have much to say about this. It was a King Kong thing, but it does give us a really interesting thing where Robotnik's first secret experiment, when he's still a scientist, he's got a different design, he looks younger. This is implied that he is probably still working for, I don't know if this plot line's been revealed to us, but he's younger.
Don't reveal it yet.
Yeah, his first secret experiment was this metallic monkey, this gorilla, who the whole thing is just a Kong, Monkey Island or Skull Island Kong. Crab Meat is there as the sidekick. Snively is there as well. They're funny. Sally gets kidnapped by King Kong and goes incel mode when she says she has a boyfriend. Sega will remember this. And then they have a really funny cringe face. Yeah, that's all I got, folks. Here's the cringe face. It's
Here's
really
Banana
good.
Sonic.
Oh yeah, Sonic is a banana. Those are all gonna be in the description. These are great. These are gold right here, baby. Yeah, that's it. Princess. Oh, we get Princess Sally's first solo adventure. It's her story. Like they title it as her story. It's Princess Sally in The First Star I See Tonight, part of the Sally Crusade series. Penders and Mike wrote this. The romance is forbidden. Sonic, she's like trying to wistfully figure out if Sonic loves her, but we know that won't ever be true because Sega doesn't want it. An orb lands from outer space and Sally gets it. She gets to ponder the orb. Remember this orb. Don't forget this orb.
Ponder it.
Ponder it.
Ponder the orb.
We get Sonic 18. They put on a play. This is kind of an interesting one because they're trying to the read I got on this now is like they're just trying to simulate life in a more peaceful time. And it's kind of nice. They do a play where it's like they're getting married again. They sure like to use this plot line. It just doesn't amount to anything, but it's fake. Yeah, they really fake us out that they're trying to really get married, but it ends up being a play.
It's like
this is
the
the
second
time
got
that
married.
Yeah, that's a lot for 18 issues.
Yeah, it's I don't know, the same fake out too. Robotnik gets really livid and unleashes his whole army on the church, and the penguin pastor is like, "Stop this! This is a holy sanctuary. You're desecrating centuries of tradition." And then almost gets shot. And he's like, "Or this could go." Sonic's like, "Or this could go for my funeral, for my wedding to your funeral." I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, it's just it was kind of a weird why is this so important? We get the next phase of the Sally story where Rotor is trying to figure out how to open the orb. What's in there? What is the origin? We get introduced to two characters in this one kind of out of nowhere. Rosie, who is like a chipmunk, who's Sally's like nanny, and then she's like, "Oh, Princess Sally, you've got to come here. Your grandma is dying." It's an old lady cat who's also her nanny, but also her teacher, because Sally's a little Einstein and she's like doing science and stuff. And yeah, the old lady cat's like being philosophical. You know this is a Ken Pender story because it's trying to be really deep. Like you got you are going to lead. You're going to be the princess. You're the next step in like the royal lineage. Are you ready for that role? And she kicks her in the hand to catch a pebble as a proof rite of passage or some shit. It was...
And that solution really had me scratching my head. Like, what?
Yeah, the answer? Not diplomacy. Not wit.
Violence.
It's the fact that she's like dying and Sally knees her.
She dies right after that. She literally, the next couple panels, she's like, "I'm proud of you." Bleh. And then Sally cries. So sad. Oh, I mean, It's interesting because we get a little backstory to Robotnik's takeover. We know it was like a violent takeover. Like there's like a burning building in the background, and it was a takeover. So like we know it's a little lore building. I like that.
So I have a question. Mm-hmm. When did the other two Sonics show up?
The other two Sonics?
Well, I mean, yeah, they were triplets born. The throne awaited.
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
I
next
can't
time.
wait to go underground.
Well, we're about to get more than 2 other Sonics. We're about to get 1,000 of them because Sonic 19.
No.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. We're using Thanks Ken Penders' timeline. So the next thing is the Sonic special. Would one of you guys care to go over it?
Stuff happens. Yes.
Okay, I wrote like a little thing. I mean, I guess like the first story was like the meatiest one. The quest where Sally and everyone follow a map into the Forbidden Zone, and then they defeat a Cyclops robot, a Griffin robot, and a biomechanical watchdog, which is like a 2-headed dog, which had the classic one head tells the truth, one head tells lies. And then at the end of this journey, they find a scroll that basically is like, be true to yourself. And then they... the story...
Rip off.
Like, there's like a... Like, it there's a bit of a time skip, I guess you could say. Like, it just shows... It shows a possible future.
It's important to note, we find out the thing in the orb they get is a computer. It's a little handheld like PDA computer named Nicole.
Yeah, I think I was about to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That happened before, right, though?
The story shows the future, and it reveals that Nicole was indeed sent back into the past.
But there's a bigger revelation from this comic. Sally has her vest now. We'll see how long that lasts.
Oh, yeah. The plot relevant thing I was talking about the vest is she gets it out of Julalea, the old leg cat lady.
Oh, right.
It's stupid, but that's it.
I gotta say, Tails is rocking that hot pink airplane, though.
I think it's kind of cute when they integrate design changes like into the story and somewhat justify it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like I thought it was like an enjoyable story to read and all, but like it does like raise questions, especially like oh wait, she put that little piece of paper in the Forbidden Zone. Like what?
It's a secret. Keep it safe. Keep it secret.
It was a prank, bro.
It was all a huge. Damn, Sally, you trolling yourself?
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was enjoyable. Maybe just because it was like not as slapsticky for a change. I don't know.
Well, we get character. We get Sally character. It's great. Like,
yeah.
Penders gave her some like. I mean, it's a little silly, but still, like we
it was
get resourceful Sally.
It's a bit cheesy, I think, but still.
Mm-hmm. For the second story, that was all like little slapstick comedy thing for Tails. We get the first thing. It was like a 2-page story. It was Spaz. Patrick. We're gonna refer to him as Spaz because that's what he goes by. Patrick Spaziante. He's you're gonna know him. He draws from now on till the end of Archie. He's gonna be doing covers and art, and he does the Mega Man series. He's great. His art is iconic at this point, and you can really see how it develops over time. He's got kind of like that, like punchy, very like lanky. I don't even know, like Looney. It's not Looney Tunes, but it's a very like. Help me out here, guys. Like, what would you describe it as? This is very like a punchy. Would you say?
I have no idea how I would describe it, but
it's iconic.
It's spaz art, really spaz art.
Yeah,
I mean, I do like it.
Scott Shaw comes back too for the Tails story. His art. Harv, you said you were like, things are starting to look a little more like its own like Sonic, whereas instead of like the
Sad AM.
I think that Scott Shaw definitely takes us back to that a little more. Like it's more Sagiyan looking.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
No, not a bad thing. I like Scott's art. It's just that's
Sonic himself still has that like classic like Genesis Sonic look though.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Mohawk Sonic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, they took pieces of
Yeah.
Man, it's like I don't want to.
No, you want to say
it's
it.
like I don't want to say that I don't like Dave's art, but I feel like, at least for the goofy stuff, man, I feel like Scott Shaw's is like so much better. It's like I kind of wish Scott was the one drawing more stories, but yeah, I don't know. I just really like Scott's art, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I understand. I agree. I think that Dave Manick has great art. I just think that Scott Shaw... I mean, if they're doing, like, Saturday morning cartoon slapstick, let's get Scott Shaw. Maybe he's not available. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do have an interview with Dave Manick that, for not this issue, but for the next issue, or not issue, the next episode of this podcast, I'll try to fit it in here. Because it's kind of cool because he kind of reflects on his time on the early Sonic stuff. So maybe we'll learn something from that. Who knows? Sonic 19, kind of important. This is where we get a little more of that meaty juice here. Manic and Dag did the cover art of that, and Mike and Ken did the story. It's Night of 1,000 Sonics. It's a multiverse plot line. We get a bunch of Sonics, and there's like a whole collection of them, which all are references to other things. We get Wolverine Sonic, there's Caveman Sonic, Cosmonaut Sonic, Pirate Sonic. I mean,
add one to the Sonic foot count.
Yes, Sonic foot count 3 so far. It all starts with Robot Sonic appearing. He's not a robot. He's half robot. Half robot Sonic appearing, and he's like, our universe got absolutely wrecked because we were too powerful. Yes, that's right. You heard it right. The Freedom Fighters all became half robots in that universe, and they drove Robotnik into a corner that he had to roboticize himself. Now, this begs the question, because sometimes in the early comics, you would see him drinking motor oil, but he's not a robot in our universe. What the hell?
Hey, look, man. People got weird,
Sure.
I'm blanking on the word.
I mean, we got
ticks.
The food fetish.
Weird ticks. I mean, you've seen that, like, weird show where people, like, clay and stuff.
Oh, yeah, the people that eat stuff they're not supposed to eat, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, look, Robotnik just happens to slurp some motor oil now and then.
Gross. Anyway, so Robotnik roboticizes himself and becomes Robotnik. This is super important. This is gonna come back. I'm telling you this. Remember, Robotnik.
I want you to trademark Importaful or whatever you said. This
is Importaful. He's trying to take over all the universes. So the Sonics assemble. They go out and hunt for all the different Sonics in every universe. We get Sonic Feet. We get Robotnik unleashing his Shadow Bots, or his Shadow swap bots. Yeah. But our Robotnik gets jealous and attacks him for stepping on his turf, because, this is his Mobius. No, ain't no other Robotnik getting in his way.
If I could step in here with one little coloring mistake that makes this a bit hilarious.
Let's hear.
On the scene where Robotnik is, being watched by actual Robotnik, they messed up the color of his pants, so it looks like he's just wearing shorts.
He's wearing underwear.
Yeah. Well, he's at home. I don't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. So so now there's a fight between Robotnik's regular swap bots and the Shadow swap bots, and Robotnik is forced back into the interstate highway, or the dimensional interstate highway thing, and this issue has really cool art. It's super, it feels like a special almost. there's all of 19 is just this story. It's split into like 3 parts. They chase all the Sonics, go into the interstate, and they become black and white. It all just becomes regular line art because things are starting to get distorted. There's way too many people in the interstate at once. There's a close-up of our regular Robotnik's face. It's all gross and like pimply and porous. I don't know. There's a lot of really good art in this. So yeah, there's a big fight that happens in the highway. A big brawl ensues. Robotnik gets a big Galactus-esque Borg to fight with. He has the power glove that he uses to control it, and all the Sonics team up, beat him, rip his robot piece by bloody piece, and then I'll take the pieces of that robot to the different corners of the multiverse. Remember this. It's important. Or whatever the fuck I said earlier. It is important, though. Remember this. This will come up again. I promise. I'm not just saying this.
Okay.
Thoughts on this?
Harvek will remember that.
So will Ken Penders. Thoughts on this, fellas?
It was fun.
Yeah,
I like I'd
say that about.
Like the fact that Anti-Sonic there was like so insignificant you didn't even mention it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He is the guy who leads Robo-Robotnik's troops in the interstate highway, and then he's just beat up and tossed back in his
It was pretty pointless, but I guess it made sense to have him involved somehow, I guess.
Continuity. Yeah, that's it.
Something I've been saying a lot is like, oh, this thing is fun. So I'm trying to find another way to describe this. But I like the whole shtick where the good guy teams up with the bad guy and blah, blah, blah. And I like the look of the Shadow Robotnik.
Mm-hmm. I remember. Remember Robo Robotnik, the Eggman nega of the comics.
What did you say?
Don't sweat it.
Dorko, censor what he just said.
And then we got issue 20. Yeah. Anybody want to take the wheel in this one? I wrote just Sonic dies.
Well, this is one of those issues where I didn't write anything because I had no particular thoughts.
Yeah, it's a Sonic dies. He becomes a ghost. He doesn't actually die. Whatever Robotnik hits him with doesn't actually kill him. It just makes him invisible and nobody can hear him. Tails is going through coping mode, and he's like, "Nah, Sonic's not dead. No, you cannot gaslight me into thinking Sonic is dead. There's no way. Sonic the Hedgehog cannot die." And so everybody gives up on Sonic, but Tails writes some silly notes and is like, "Sonic, I believe you're alive, even though if you are dead, then pay no attention to this letter." So he's gotta cop out no matter what. So Sonic slowly starts to become more tangible to things, rides a moose into battle. The Freedom Fighters put on really cool like ski masks and do a special op into Robotropolis, and as a last hurrah to delete Robotnik because they think Sonic's dead. And Sonic stops Robotnik from stopping the Freedom Fighters and then tells him to go lose weight, and Robotnik is working out at the very end. The most important thing about this issue, I think, is that there is a Princess Sally adventure. Important! We are starting to finally get into, like, continuous story. This is, like, this issue going forward, I think, is pretty much the point where we're, like, gonna have stories that, like, will follow one after the other. Basically, Sally is a super secret agent, is breaking into one of Robotnik's compounds. The art, the tone, everything shifts. It's like she actually has character and that we can care about her, not some silly story about a lost teacher of hers dying or whatever. She's actually doing covert ops as a freedom fighter. This is a story by Mike and Ken again. Malwini does the art, and yeah, so she breaks into the compound and she's basically going to blow up some stuff, and she runs into another one of our first new original characters. He is a skunk secret agent who has also come to blow up the compound, and his name is Geoffrey St. John, a member of His Majesty's Secret Service, current leader of the Rebel Underground. Remember this man, because the comic will make sure that you don't forget him. And that's it. And we were left with Sally being pointed at, like, there's a
Ready, aim,
gun.
fire.
Yeah, ready, aim, fire. There's a gun pointed at her head.
She's about to get blown up.
And then there's like a little silly, just another slapstick, something that's reminiscent of the old. I'm pretty sure this is like this is a plot from the old comics that they just recolorized or something. And that's Sonic. That went a lot longer than I wanted it to, once again, but I promise the next episode's not gonna be this bad, because I'm gonna just have us read less stuff.
No.
Listen, it all goes back to Sonic.
Yes, it does.
All goes back to Sonic every time. Sonic's ego is so huge in the beginning of this comic that it always goes back to him. He makes himself a part of
Sonic's
everything.
dick is so big.
It's huge. Yeah, final thoughts, y'all?
Just one. What the fuck is that? What is that Sonic? Why is he all like blumpy? What is that?
Hey man, don't make fun of him. He's got a condition.
You remember that issue with the stupid magic butterfly where Sonic becomes an allergic balloon?
There was a
Yeah,
part
but
of me
that
that was
looked more
wondering if it was
disgusting.
him.
It's the universe where he never got better.
Oh no.
Dorko, Harv, you guys have any...
Yeah, it's pretty good so far. I'm excited to see more actual story stuff happen.
I mean, I liked it more than our last session.
Oh, absolutely.
I can still only say so much, but I don't hate the thing I'm reading, and I'm looking forward to more of this. Yeah.
I'm still morbidly terrified to see what happens to the Chaos Emeralds.
So, remember, now we have the Power Emerald, or... the Power Emeralds, or...
There was something called Freedom Emeralds at some point, but I think it was the thing that they did once and did away with, very early on.
Yeah, they have a bunch of variants of it. We're gonna start seeing them trim down and really be like, okay, this is what we meant by the Chaos Emerald. This is what we meant by the Power Rings. This is what we meant by. They'll slowly happen. So it'll be fun if you guys can try and point out the inconsistencies, because I'm not great at doing that kind of thing, but I'll try my best to. I think it's always fun to see how the evolution happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, next episode, we're starting strong on our first spin-off comic, Princess Sally's mini-series. So there's 3 issues of that we'll be reading. And I'm not going to say what issues we'll be covering in the next episode, because I don't know. I was serious, because we read 10 issues plus the special, and a lot of it was kind of nonsensical, where we're going to start seeing more plot in these next ones. So I'm going to try to split things up by arcs. I don't think we're quite there to the arc point of things yet, but we are rapidly tidying up this early saga of stories, I guess, this early style. So we're definitely covering the Sally miniseries, and we may just get all the way up to the Sonic and Knuckles special. And just maybe that'll be that episode, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap up the saga the episode after with the Tales miniseries, which goes up to the little Freedom Wars that they've got going afterwards. And we'll start to see more Knuckles in the coming future.
Oh boy.
I'm excited. I love Knuckles. I don't care what you guys say. I'm Knuckles pilled.
Yeah,
and
MegaFire are Knuckles enthusiasts, in case we didn't say so already.
Yeah, there's so much bad, but there's so much good. It can't be any... Okay.
Maybe save that for another episode.
Yeah.
That's a whole bit. Right?
I like Knuckles. I'm just not sure how much I'll enjoy comic Knuckles, but we'll find out.
Good.
We'll find out when we get there.
He's good 50% of the time.
Wow! Did you say 50% or was it 15?
Yo, listen.
That's a failing
Okay.
grade.
Okay, he's
We'll see y'all
actually
next
good
time.
75% of the time.
Well, we'll get there when it's time, I think.
We'll see y'all
We'll
later.
get there when it's time. Yes, we will see you all on the next episode. Still haven't decided on our posting schedule, but you will definitely see it. It's going to be either weekly or bi-weekly. We're going to start getting on the groove maybe after the 3rd episode here, so you guys will definitely start seeing our specific plan. We'll be posting about it as well on social medias.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. And remember, suddenly Sonic appears.